Good morning. Welcome to Morning Java, brought to you by GetGo Cafe and Market. What can you get at GetGo in the morning? Of course, coffee.
You know, it's fresh brewed espresso coffee straight out of an Italian espresso machine. You can always get a hot one, but in this hot heat, you might want to get a cold one, maybe a nice chilled coffee.
Mm-hmm. One to cool you off there. And
Absolutely.
Has it been hot out there for you at Steelers OTAs this week?
Actually, you know, yesterday was quite cool. So as you see, I've come prepared now. I've got a little preparation with some sleeves. The Steelers are wrapping up their OTAs today, and this will be the 10th and final one. Next week they'll have their mini camp. But the big news from Wednesday was Ryan Shazier talking to the media for the first time since his accident, injury, whatever you want to call it, December 4th in Cincinnati. Really a lot of good stuff from him. A lot of stuff that he talked about, still wanting to get back on the football field, still having that goal, but taking it in incremental steps. So it's going to be interesting to see and continue to watch as he continues to work his way back.
Yeah, from just looking at him, what did you see? I mean, how is he getting around? I know he's walking with a cane now. Is that right? I mean, how is he moving compared to just a few months ago?
He's moving much better. He walked to the podium today with just the cane. He said that's his next goal, is to get rid of the cane and be able to walk just on his own. And the way this young man is recovering, I'm not going to put it past him.
That's great. Dale, you know, Steelers OTA still going on, and you know, the man everybody wants to see, Big Ben, he was back out there for you this week, wasn't he?
Yeah, this was Ben was back out on Wednesday. That's the first time since the opening OTA. No Antonio Brown, though, on Wednesday. He has not been out there since saying that Le'Veon Bell needs to be out there if he wants to get better. So go figure. But this was something that I was told that, you know, these guys were said, hey, look, if you want to take these times off, it's not necessary that you guys be here. We want to take a look at the young quarterbacks. We want to take a look at the young receivers. Even Cam Hayward, who has been there, hasn't practiced all the time. He was back at practice on Wednesday as well. But they want to get some of these other guys. This is really about, especially the OTA session, it's really about getting these young guys acclimated to what they're going to be asked to do once they get to mini camp, and especially once they get to training camp. So you want those guys, you want to give them all the help that they can get. That means getting them all the reps that they can get in this OTA type session. And that's been a good thing for the Steelers. They've been able to do that.
And I'm sure for the older guys, I mean, let's not forget the O is optional in OTA. So
very much so.
I mean, these are things where for the older guys, you want to preserve them for training camp, keep them fresh. You know, I mean, recovery time's a little longer for those guys that are in their early to mid 30s as opposed to, you know, young 20-somethings out of college.
And as we saw last week, guys can get hurt in these situations. We've seen even Hunter Henry of San Diego go down in an OTA session, lost for the year. The Steelers definitely don't want that to happen, especially with Ben Roethlisberger.
Right. Dale, let's go a little bit off of each of our beats, talk about some other big news with the Pirates and Jung Ho Kang coming back to the U.S., back with the Pirates organization down in Bradenton, meeting with the media on Wednesday.
Yeah, this was the first time that he had addressed the media since he's returned to the Pirates. And, of course, Lance was down there in Bradenton to take part in that. And the one big thing I took out of this is, he says, look, I'm done with alcohol. And that's a good thing because, the first part of solving a problem is realizing that you have a problem. And I guess, if you get multiple DUIs, you probably had a problem.
Yeah, and that's something that, to each person it's different too. I mean, some people are able to, taper it back, realize they made a mistake. For some people, they realize the best move for them is to just take away the temptation altogether. And, that sounds like the route he's going. And as a guy with a promising professional baseball career still ahead of him, I see that, there's so much to be lost there. Why risk it?
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see what the Pirates do with him down the road. They're playing him at shortstop. They're playing him both middle infield spots. Obviously, he can play third base as well. And if he can fill that swing kind of role that right now Sean Rodriguez is playing, obviously Jung Ho Kang has a much better bat. And even if you just bring him back as a pinch hitter, he gives you some flexibility there as well. We know he has power. We know he can hit for average. If he shows that he can come back and play second base, shortstop, maybe they move Jordy Mercer at the trade deadline. Maybe they decide to cut bait with Sean Rodriguez, who's barely hitting his weight. but it gives them some options anyways.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest thing is they want to see what options they have going forward, not even this year, into next year. Is this a guy that's going to be part of their long-term plan? And if so, what parts are expendable then that Gunn can replace?
And Matt, you had a story about Pitt getting a big grad transfer that could help them out this year.
Well, yeah, and right now we knew going in, they were right at 84 scholarships, so they had one left for the upcoming season. And Wednesday morning, school puts out an announcement that tight end Will Gregg, who was a player from Arkansas, played redshirt his first year there, played 2 years with the Razorbacks. He's coming to Pitt and has 2 years of eligibility left for a grad transfer, which is always, a good thing. He finished his degree in 3 years. He's a guy who has an older brother that played in the NFL. His cousin is Jarius Wright, the receiver from the Vikings that just signed with the Panthers, I believe it was. And, he's a guy who comes from good pedigree. He's athletic, 6'3", about 235 in that range. Caught 5 balls last year, sort of buried on the depth chart at Arkansas. After finishing his degree, decided he wanted to get a new start, and Pitt's going to be where he plays, and that's huge for Pitt because tight end probably their thinnest position in terms of depth. They had sophomore Tyler Sears, the only player on the team that has any game experience. You had 2 redshirt freshmen in Grant Kerrigan and Charles Reeves. Other than that was all Pitt had until this announcement Wednesday.
Yeah, and building depth at this time of year is huge because you're going to lose some guys to injuries over the course of this whole thing. And, it seems like it's a program that maybe took a slight step back last year, but with everything that they've got coming back this year, should be better than what they were.
Yeah, and this is a guy, they want him to contribute right away. I mean, you can tell Pat Narduzzi in the school statement said that, injecting a veteran presence in there was something they wanted to do in their tight end room. It's obviously he's coming in after spring practice, so he's going to have to pick up on the playbook quickly, sort of get acclimated to Pitt in, what's left of summer and 3 weeks of camp, 4 weeks before they kick it off against Albany. So it's going to be a quick process, but he's a guy with the talent that, they're going to have him on the field.